Okay, hi guys. Yesterday we have discussed about Azure Network Subnet, Azure Network Security Group, NIC cards, and adding additional IPs into additional IP in NIC card, and adding multiple IPs also, and then moving VM from one subnet to another subnet, and moving from dynamic to static and IP changes, as well as in the OS level also how to add the additional IPs. These also we have discussed on yesterday. Okay, and today we are going to discuss about uh, same network only, but some scenario based networking concept that we are going to discuss today. Fine. Okay, we have created our own network in Azure that is called virtual network VNet. So there are some scenarios or classifications to reach out the particular network in Azure. Let's take example. So this is our Azure VNet. To communicate this VNet, there are so many possibilities ways are there. Okay, so this VNet wants to, obviously, whatever resources are there in this VNet, it needs to be accessed by somebody else. Okay, so that someone else, they can be a internal user, internal user, or external user. External user means outside, I mean over the internet, and internal user means inside the network, inside the VNet. I mean within the Azure, the users can able to communicate with the particular resources inside the same VNet, and external users also needs to connect with this VNet, and this VNet resource also can communicate to other Azure resources. Okay, so these are the three possibilities ways. Uh, yeah, these are the three possibilities ways that our users can reach out to the VNet. So whatever resources that we create, that resource needs to communicate to internal users or external users or in between Azure resources. Okay, these are the three scenarios that we are going to discuss now. Okay, so the first one we'll discuss about Azure resources communicate with internet. Okay, so this Azure resource can communicate with internet, or the external user can communicate Azure. These are the two possibilities in the first options. Okay, just try to understand. Azure resources can communicate with internet, or external, I mean internet users can reach out to the Azure resources. Okay, this is over the internet. In this, there are some feasibilities are there. Okay, this is just a concept over the internet. Azure also can communicate. In these options, generally the Azure will communicate or external users or internet users can communicate with Azure using public IP. So this everyone aware, because whenever we create a virtual machine, we are assigning one public IP to take respective RDP of the machine. Just assume that there is one VM that is present in VNet. So how usually you will take RDP with the public IP address, the communications will go like this. Okay, so and inbound will go like this, at the same time outbound also the VM will utilize the same public IP. Okay, this is one option. Public IP is one options the Azure resource can communicate to the internet. Okay, here another option, that is NAT gateway. Okay, so NAT gateway is nothing. This is also same like public IP address. Okay, but the concept is bit different between public IP and the NAT gateway. But this NAT gateway also having one public IP address. Okay, we'll discuss later about NAT gateway in detail picture. Okay, one is public IP. Through that, the VM can communicate to internet, and the request will go from internet to resources, Azure resources, two-way communication. Same thing can happen in NAT gateways also, and other two methods also there. I'll tell that load balancer. Load balancer also have one public IP and Azure Firewall. Okay, so these are the four ways the Azure resource can communicate to internet. At the same time, the internet also communicate with the Azure resources using these four options. Okay, so any doubt in this point? This is what I'm just going to explain in detail. Communication of Azure resources with the internet. So just make sure this point is clear so that I can go and explain of NAT gateway and public IP. Is this point is clear? Can I go with live example?
Sure, you can proceed
Okay.
for a live example.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to create a one virtual machine, and that virtual machine having public faced IP. So you all may be knowing that the whenever we create a VM for taking RDP, we used to give one public IP so that we can able to take RDP. Until unless we cannot, because we are not into Azure network. We are a outside internet users. So to reach out, first example, we are the outside internet users. To reach out this particular VM, we need a public IP. Through that, we can able to reach out to the VM through public. Okay, so I'm just gonna to create one VM with the public IP so that I can take RDP of the machine. Here AG user. So I'm explaining very slowly and just capture everything, guys. Still so many topics need to be covered, but it's fine. I just need to explain it for each and everything. So that's what I'm moving very slowly. And see here, inbound rules. So you all now knowing about this inbound rules. This inbound rule, when I give this allow selected inbound rule, this RDP will be added in our network security group. One network security group will be created, and in that RDP port 3389 will be automatically allowed. That is what it is asking here. If you don't want to give this RDP, then just you can give it as none. But again, when you come to networking part, again the energy part will come there. It will ask, let me show that also. Just move next disk. So I'll just keep it disk also as it is. I'm not going to change anything. And coming to the networking part, here uh, I have one VNet which I have created already. So that is VNet training. I'll just choose this VNet training and subnet A I have created. You see the public IP. With this public IP, the VM going to communicate to the internet as well as from the internet to VM. So I'm choosing one new IP here and the network security group. You see, by default the option will come. In case if you have created network security group already separately, if you created, then you no need to select this basic option. You can just click on advanced and you can choose the network security group which you have created already. You see here there was one network security group already there. So like that, if you created one dedicated network security group before create this VM, so you can choose it directly. Okay, as of now I'm just creating one new NSG only. So I'm just giving as basics. And see here again the port is asking inbound port is asking. So I'm just giving as select inbound port. I need to take RDP, so I'm just giving 3389. Okay, rest all the settings I'm just keeping as it is. So I'm just quickly deploying this machine, creating. So last time, yesterday we have discussed about network security group. So you all must be knowing about that. So there is one security group NSG, and this security group can be associated with subnet, so that whatever VMs are present in the respective subnet, the VM will be utilizing the same energy. The single energy will be associated to all VMs which are part of the subnet. Okay, so I will create another VM and after that I will apply the same method. Subnet one energy and attach the same energy to two machines. Okay, so now let's see this VM is going to create. And one important point that you have to remember, and that is a very important and interview question as well. By default this is the Azure VM, and just assume that this is the internet. Okay, by default, the VM have outbound connectivity to the internet. You cannot block also. This is the default behavior from Microsoft. By default, the VM have internet access inside. From inside, you can have you can do Google or whatever. That is the default behavior. Though you don't assign public IP, still the VM will get internet access. Okay, I will show one more VM without public IP, how the VMs are getting Google access, internet access. Okay, so in this VM which we created now, that is created successfully, and I'm just gonna to take RDP with the public IP address. You see the public IP address is assigned. Just copy that and do mstc, and so copying. So as I said, by default the VM would be having internet access, though you don't use public IP also. you can able to access Google from inside the VM. So this is public faced VM will having internet access. So after this VM, I will show that IP, sorry, VM with the private IP also. So just open browser, let it load. You can see Edge browser. By default, Edge only will be there. You see in the right side when the VM is created and you logged in successfully, you will get one pop-up in the right side that VM is going to connect with the internet. So you have to allow this one yes, so that in the right side corner, in the task manager, taskbar, you will get the option that internet symbol which is showing as internet access. Okay. So now just go to your browser. You see the Google is opened. See, I'm able to access everything. You can use YouTube or whatever. And you want to notify now how we can check this VM is utilizing which public IP. So go to CMD here, type CMD and just type IP config. Sorry. You see the VM having private IP, but for RDP purpose we have used this IP. Now we need to check what is the public IP that VM is currently using. So when you click on Google, it is going to Google. So there is a internet connectivity. Now we need to understand what is the IP that is used for internet purpose. So in the Google, you just type what is my IP. Just hit enter. The first link you can see the IP address of your machine. Now you can understand, see both IPs are same, RDP IP and from the Google you are seeing the IP address. So through this IP address, this 20 dot this IP address, the VM is communicating. Through this IP, the VM is getting access to the internet. Okay, so this is what I said in the diagram. Through the public IP, the VM is getting access with the internet. And with the RDP, we are taking the machine. Thus, this scenario. From public IP, we are taking RDP and inside the VM, we are accessing internet. Okay, so make sure the first point is clear for everyone. So I guess the first point is very clear about public IP address. Is it clear? Can I move to next one?
Yeah, Ram, you can proceed.
Okay. So the next one, NAT gateway, where it is here, NAT gateway. So for okay. So what is NAT gateway? Very simple. Just I will show in the diagram. That is also public IP only, but I'll explain it. Okay. So just assume that there is a VM1 and VM2, n number of VM inside the subnet. Okay, just assume that this is subnet A and these two VMs are going to internet like this, and this is the internet with the help of public IP. Okay, so this point everyone is clear about public IP. So I said each and every VM having a inbound, I mean outbound connectivity to the internet. So every VM having public connectivity. Through these public IP, the VM is going to connect internet. Okay. So the project requirement is usually when you come to the project, the requirement would be I don't want outbound connectivity because see here if I use Google and other stuff, and there is a security breach also, as well as there is a chance to hackers to attack this machine. So there are so many possibilities, ways are there to hack this entire environment because this is the public faced IP. Okay, so I want to block this public IP over the firewall. Okay, so the another topic we will see about firewall the next topic. Okay, so just assume that sorry, just assume here this is the firewall and the traffic crossing the firewall and going to the internet. Just assume here. Okay, so let's come to this point now. Two VMs are there and two public IP addresses are there. If you create multiple VMs inside this particular subnet, so each and every VM will be assigning with one, I'll just mention it as PIP, public IP. So whatever VMs that you create inside the subnet, it will have one public IP, that is PIP. And do you think that is it easy to block these IPs in firewall? This is the firewall stage. Okay, so after crossing the after the IP crossing firewall, it's going to internet. So whatever the IPs are going to the internet, we need to block here. That is the our project requirement that my VMs should not connect to internet. But by default behavior from Microsoft, the each VM having one public IP to connect with the internet. So I need to block it in the firewall. So suppose when you create the first VM, you know the public IP address, so you will go immediately firewall, and firewall in the firewall you can block the IP. Okay, but if you have multiple VMs, so how you can block it? Sorry. So if you have multiple VM, you see four VMs are there. Only one public IP that I can block at the time. If multiple VMs are creating by admin, how firewall team will identify and how they can block it? If suppose if it is having 10 VMs and 10 public IP will be there, then firewall team has to block those 10 IPs in firewall. So it is possible, but is it a good practice? No. So every time we don't need to reach out to firewall to create any of the VM, and to overcome this issue, the NAT concept came to the picture. So how the NAT will work out? This is the subnet, and this is our NAT gateway, and this is our firewall, and here is my open internet. Okay, this is our open internet. So NAT gateway also is nothing. It is also public IP only. Public IP only. Instead of using public IP inside the VM level, we can create one NAT gateway. So when we create a NAT gateway, it will create one public IP address. Okay, so now subnet a. Now this particular NAT gateway will be associated to this particular subnet. So that same NSG concept, when we associate the NSG to the subnet, whatever VMs that create inside the subnet, all VMs will use the same NSG. Same concept here. When I associate this NAT gateway to subnet, whatever VMs that I created inside the subnet, all the VMs will utilize the single public IP. Okay, so just try to understand clearly what when we create a NAT gateway and NAT gateway associate with the subnet, whatever VM that we create, all the VM will utilize the NAT gateway IP only. So now here we don't require individual public IP to all of these VMs. So if we have only one public IP, we can just define in the firewall whether the public IP can be allowed to the internet or not. So we can block the public IP in firewall. If we block the internet option, the entire internet options will be blocked. Suppose some project need internet access, but they want to implement this NAT gateway method. So they want only one public IP which needs to be tracked. Okay, so what firewall will do actually, it will monitor and control the traffic. That is the main use of firewall. Okay, so the firewall team will monitor how many VMs are utilizing this public IP and what are the incoming requests are coming and outgoing. For example, the VM1 user will utilize YouTube and VM2 user will use Instagram and VM3 user will use Facebook. So these all the things can be captured in firewall using this public IP. Only one public IP is enough to capture all the VM's activities, and the traffic can be blocked by firewall. So using this public IP, the firewall can block the internet, or if the project requirement that they want internet access to some critical task means, in the firewall we can allow or deny. Okay, so just make this point is clear. So is it clear to everyone? I'm just going to create an ad gateway now. Guys, everyone clear this point? Can I take this silence is yes? Guys, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, Ram.
Yeah, Ram, you are audible
Yeah,
only.
yeah. Is this point is clear to everyone? NAT gateway purpose project, you must be using NAT gateway. In all the project, NAT gateway is there. Sorry, infra based projects, they must be using NAT gateway. So just see it properly and carefully. So I'm going to create one NAT gateway. Before that, uh, what I will do, I'll just create one NSG. Okay, the naming I will give the name I will give it as subnet hyphen NSG. So this NSG I'm going to associate with one subnet. Okay, so let it complete. So already one VM which is in running state. Okay, so I'm going to create another virtual machine. That is, I'll make a name it as VM2. So why I am showing this VM creation every time, so that you will get more experience in creating virtual machines. So I could have done it before this session as well, creating this VM and keep it ready in the session. But during the session only I am showing every time for creating this VM, so that everyone will get more experienced. Okay. So this VM2, I'm not going to give any outbound, sorry, any port also, because I'm not assigning any public IP address. Okay. So I'm going to use the same network and private IP address. So this is the VNet training. This is our VNet, and subnet is subnet A, and public IP address I'm going to give as none, because I have already one machine as a public. Okay, I don't want another machine also public, because inside this machine I will take the VM2 also RDP. So sub here you see in the NSG I'm going to give the newly created NSG subnet NSG. Okay, click next, next, next. So meantime what I will do, the VM1 is running, right? So this VM1 I'm going to change this network security group also for the VM1. So going to network interface, and here go to network security group. Why I'm changing, I'm just keeping both the VMs inside a single network security group. So once network group is going, it's enough to these VMs. So that's why I want to make it this VMs in different network security group. So I don't want. So I'm just going to keep one network security group. So here the newly created is subnet energy. So I'm just going to make a change. Now my RDP will be disconnected for this VM, because I'll tell you the magic now. Because in the subnet energy, I have I have not declared, not defined RDP port. Okay, we'll see. This will be, once I'll disconnect. You see, I'm not able to take RDP now. Why? Because I changed the network security group to newly created one. In this security group, this subnet NSG1, I did not define the port 3389, so that the RDP is getting disconnected. So I'm just going back to network security group, and going to my created one. Here, just go to inbound rule, and here we have to define our port 3389. Okay, source is any source port is star, everything is fine. Service is RDP, so 3389 port is allowed. So I am allowing the port port 3389 in network security group subnet energy. So now the VM is This is the network security group in subnet -nsg. This is our actual network security group. In this two VMs I have associated VM1 and 2. VM1, VM2. These two are associated, and these two VM part of subnet A. So make this point is clear. Subnet A. Okay, only one VM1 I have public IP. I need to take RDP of this machine so that I can take this VM2. Okay, this VM2 having only private IP address. So, okay, I will take RDP. So, from the internet, I am just taking my RDP using public IP address like this. Okay, and this is subnet. Inside the subnet, whatever resources are there, they have by default connectivity. They both can communicate each together. So VM1 can communicate VM2 and VM2 can communicate VM1 because these two are in same network at the same time, same VNet. Sorry, same VNet, same subnet. So the subnet resources can communicate each together. Okay, not only two VMs, any VMs that can communicate each together. That is the you know that is the design by Microsoft. At the same time, assume that there is one more subnet, for example, subnet B. In this subnet also one VM is there, and this VM also can communicate to this VM1 and VM2 because they all are in single network, single VNet. Okay, so whatever subnet that is there inside the VNet, all the subnet can be connected each together. Okay, so make this point clear. This is very important one. Interview they will ask how the resources can communicate inside the virtual network. Okay, we will discuss this one next one. Okay, so now you clear through the internet I have taken RDP, and you see my IP address is still same because I did not create it. Now I'm not I'm going to create one NAT gateway here. Okay, so uh, two VMs I have associated to the single subnet, single network security group, and now I'm just going to create a NAT gateway. So click on resource group, and here NAT gateway name, NAT gateway, and region and availability zone. If you need, you can select. As of now I'm giving, and ideal timeout for 4 minutes, 4 to 120 minutes. So in case any issue with this public IP address, we will get timed out error. So that timed out error we can define 4 minutes or one 4 is the least one and 120 is the maximum minute. Okay, so now just click on next. Here, as I said, the NAT gateway having one public IP address. Okay, so I will just create one new public IP address, NAT-IP. So the SKU would be standard. When you create a VM in standard, then the associating resources also should be the same format, same SKU only. Okay, so NAT gateway IP I have defined. What is public IP prefix? So again, the NAT gateway public IP having two types. Two types public IP. PIP can be used. Okay, the first one direct public IP. Second one prefix. Prefix that is given by Microsoft. MS means Microsoft. So in the prefix means they have already some CIDR range for public IP /5 /10 /20. So they have some predefined set of public IP address. So if we give the prefix, whatever IPs are there in the prefix, that will be assigned for high availability. High availability. In case the one public IP, the direct public IP have some issue or it went down or something like that, if we give prefix, the another IP will come to the picture and the connectivity will be always continued. Okay, that is the concept, that public IP prefix. So I don't want any public IP prefix as of now because I'm already assigning one public IP. So either anything is fine. Public IP single direct IP is enough or prefix. It depends on our requirement. You see the prefix size /28 /29 /30 /31. There are some predefined public IP prefixes. Okay, so if that is a project requirement, okay, based on you can choose it. So as of now I'm giving as public IP address, and here to use this NAT gateway at least one subnet must be selected. So just leave it, just click next. Okay, so NAT gateway is going to create. So come to the picture. So see in the first picture, subnet we created already and two VMs we have created, and the two VMs associated in one NSG, sorry, here NSG, that is associated to subnet. Now you remember the NSG has been associated to subnet A, so that the two VMs are utilizing this NSG. Same concept, we need to attach this NAT gateway to this subnet A, so that this VM1 and VM2 will be utilizing this NAT gateway public IP address. Okay, so I will show now. So NAT gateway is created. So before that, the VM2 has been created. So I'm going to take RDP of the VM2. So I said in the diagram, second diagram, the VM2 having only private IP address, but I can take RTP from inside this VM1 because the both are internal resources, Azure resources. So just go back to VM2 and come to the IP, copy this IP address and go to the VM. Here do RDP. You see the RDP is happening, and the port 3389 is not required for the internal resources. This is in between resource, right? Not from outside. So when you want to take it from outside only, you have to allow the port 3389. So until unless it's not required. Is this clear about NAT gateway? So I'm going to show how the NAT gateway is going to work out. You see the VM IP is 10.2.0.5 private IP, and I'm taking the RDP from VM1. So just go to run and quickly check IP. You see there is a recommendation for internet. Just click connect. Yes. So that the VM will be connected to the internet. Okay. You see 10.2.0.5. So this is the private VM, and we did not associated any public IP address with this VM. Okay. Now go to browser and you see the symbol, internet symbol, network symbol is there. We did not associated any public IP address with this particular VM, but still the VM having internet access. This is what I explained before. By default, as per Microsoft design, the VM having default internet access. You see the Google is opening, but this is private IP VM. I did not associated any public IP. Go to VM2 and see there is no public IP address is assigned, but the VM is able to connect with the Google. Now you see what is my IP address. Okay, you see this VM is utilizing IPv for 13.68.191.134. By default, the VM having internet connectivity and it is accessing some different public IP address. Now you see the logic, right? Two VM that we created and two VMs are using different public IP address. When multiple VMs are using here in the first diagram, you see every machines are using different IPs. So how can I block this particular IPs in firewall? So it's a very difficult, right? So for that I'm using NAT gateway to allow all the VM internet access to single IP. Within the single IP, the traffic, all the VMs internet traffic will be going with this NAT gateway public IP. Okay. So I'm going to associate the public IP, NAT gateway IP address. Okay. So now go to the virtual network and go to the VNet, go to our subnet. In this diagram you see the subnet A already associated network security group, and I am going to associate NAT gateway now. So go to subnet A and just click on the subnet. You will get prompt here. You see the options NAT gateway as of now by default is none. So just click on the drop down. You see the NAT gateway which you created will prompt here. Choose the NAT gateway and click on just save it. The changes will be applied immediately. Okay. You see the subnet A is associated with the NAT gateway. So this is associated. Okay. Now go to the VM inside. Just do refresh. Okay. Before that, what is the IP that NAT gateway get assigned? So we need to see the NAT gateway IP, right? So just go to NAT gateway. I said NAT gateway has one public IP, right? So we need to see which IP the NAT gateways get assigned. So go to NAT gateway and go to outbound IP and see 52.142.56.163. So this is the NAT gateway IP. Okay, the traffic now, the VM1, VM2 traffic should go through this IP only. I'll just go and show it now. So go to the VM, just do what is my IP, just to do refresh this page. You see the logic now, 52.142.56.163. So that is our NAT gateway. So which means the traffic is going through our NAT gateway. So you can do anything, Google will work because that is the NAT gateway is public faced IP. See, it's working. Now go to the VM1. The VM1 also you can check your what is my IP. You can see the VM1 also having the same NAT gateway, but we have taken RDP with other public IP. Now this is overcome. Okay, overcome by NAT gateway, and both the VMs are utilizing same NAT gateway, and it is accessing to NAT gateway to internet. We did not define firewall till now in the network. We have not designed our firewall. So by default, the traffic directly going to internet. Okay. So yeah, this is all about NAT gateway. So any doubt in NAT gateway, I hope everyone understood very clearly about NAT gateway. I'm moving class very slowly only, so hope you can understand this NAT gateway properly. So once you all good with the NAT gateway, I can go with the another discussion. Guys, I'm able to hear me. Is this two topics we discussed? Is the points are clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just need a confirmation from others also. Please give a confirmation. These are all very important topics, so why I'm explaining very slowly. Okay, so can I move to another class? Sorry, another topic.
So Ram, I have one doubt.
Yeah, please.
So through the NAT gateway, so the IP address is dynamic changes, or the static IP will be circulated over
So
the portal.
in the NAT gateway, there are two ways the IP can be assigned. Okay, the public IP can be assigned. The first one direct public IP, which is static one, and the another one is prefix. Prefix given by Microsoft. They have given some ranges. If you, I have shown already /28 slash something 27 or something. Okay, so if you assign some prefix, the public IP will be changed when the public IP has down. When the prefix in the prefix, if one IP is down, so it will be automatically refreshed and another IP will be assigned based on availability in prefix. So when we want to meet high availability for internet access, we can go with the prefix method. Okay, at the same time, for few VMs like 10 VMs or just 15 20 VMs means single public IP is enough. But if the organization more than 100 machines need to utilize internet means obviously they have to go with prefix method, because 100 VMs are going with the single IP means obviously this IP will go down. The switch, the network switch will be go down. Okay, so to avoid that, they are going with the prefix method. For smaller amount of VMs, we can go with the direct public IP address. For larger amount, we can go with prefix.
Sure, Ram. Okay.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, guys, so we'll go with another discussion now. Is that okay? The third one, load balancer. So load balancer, we have a different class. I mean, different. It's a very big topic. We cannot cover. It's almost 1 hour is gone. What we do, we'll discuss firewall. Okay. So, what is Azure Firewall? So, we already knew that in Windows level there is a firewall called Windows Firewall. At the same time, for security purpose, we have a defender also for any critical logs are triggered in the VM level. Okay, so this Azure Firewall will be acting as overall to the virtual network level. Last time we have seen about network security group. Where is that network security group? Yeah. So yesterday also we have discussed about network security group, which is acting, firewall for the virtual machine level. Okay, but to protect this entire vnet virtual network, the firewall is the key role that is acting a main key role, which traffic needs to allow, which need not to allow. And this firewall can control the traffic, can monitor the traffic, can transfer the packets, network packets between our internal resources and then on-premises resources. Okay, so it is a firewall is a cloud-based network security that is acting as key role in virtual network. Okay, so in the firewall there are some types: standard, premium, basic tier. Okay, so most of all the resources they used to give basic tier for small environment, and premium for larger environment, and standard for medium. Plus in the standard they will give you know equal securities for everything. Okay, so in the standard one, there is a filtering, and then threat intelligence feed directly from Microsoft cyber security. There is a future threat intelligence. Okay, that is added in standard. And this standard method having L3 to L11 filtering, layer 3 to layer 7 filtering. There are OSI layers. 7 layers are there. So this firewall provides the security, filter the traffic from L3 to L7. That feature added in standard. And premium one, which is having some advanced capabilities of features, and it is having signature based securities. Okay, that is a very plus point for premium. And basics tier, it's a very basic and for small environment and small kind of, basic level of security can be achieved using basic tier. Okay, so this is just short intro about firewall. So I'll just go on diagram now. So anyone have any doubt till now before move to firewall topics? Firewall is very important one, and moreover firewall is a pass component. Okay, no one will teach about firewall, and this is an additional topic that I am explaining because as an administrator we should be knowing firewall. Okay, so that's why I'm taking extra time and explaining Azure firewalls. Even why? Because the firewall will not be directly maintained by Azure admin. There is a team who separately handle all the firewalls, Azure firewalls on premises, on-premises network firewall also. Okay, so but as an administrator, we should knowing about firewalls or not. Okay, again I'll just go with the simple diagram. This is our VNet, and this is our subnet, and the firewall will be placed on top of our VNet. Firewall individually, it's an individual component for each and every virtual network. So one VNet can have only one firewall. They both are interlinked. Okay. So understand firewall on top of firewall, sorry, on top of the VNet, the firewall can be configured. So generally the VMs, this is the VM1 and VM2, VM2. I said both VM by default have public internet access, internet. Okay, so just by default without configure the firewall, the traffic are going to directly to the internet like this. Okay, using public IP, PIP. So I said I need to block or allow or deny this public IP. That can be done in firewall level. Okay, so what actually I need to do is, if the VM is directly connecting to the internet, then who can monitor these logs and who can monitor the traffic? So to monitor everything and as well as to control everything, we need one component, that is the firewall. Okay, so I need to allow this internet traffic to firewall. First I need to route this traffic to firewall. From firewall, I can give a privileges, I can give a permissions, allow or deny, allow or deny in firewall, so that these two VM can have internet access, either internet or no. Okay, so I need to first in bit before firewall, the traffics, the connectivity directly goes from VM1 to VM1 and VM2 directly to the internet. But that is not a good practice. I need to block this IP address because my project does not require internet access and this is not a secure way. So I need to tighten my security. I need to isolate my network. Okay. To isolate my network, I am going to use firewall component. This is a cloud-based service. Firewall is a cloud-based network service which can control, monitor, allow the traffic or deny the traffic over the VNet to outside. Okay, so make this point is clear because firewall also very important one. So just try to understand very clearly. Meantime, I will just move with another slide. I need to design some more professionally about this firewall so that I will create one decent picture. this is the internet, and this is the VNet. Subnet A. I am placing VM1, VM2, VM. Okay. So first I am going to design this one in the portal. So already I have VM1 and VM2. Okay. So what I'll do, I will just go and delete my NAT gateway because we covered the NAT gateway topic. So now NAT gateway not required. I'll just go back to my subnet and I will disconnect the disassociate my NAT gateway. Okay, first that is the good practice always. Just go here, go to subnet and click on subnet. I'm just keeping as none. Okay, so NAT gateway. So I have deleted NAT gateway. So now we have only two VMs, and these two VMs having individual connectivity. Okay, so VM1 also having one public IP, PIP, VM2 also having one PIP, and by default the traffic will go to the internet. So makes sense, this point is clear by default. So as of now the behavior is same. I have deleted NAT gateway, leave about now NAT gateway. Now go to the VM and just to do refresh, the IP will gone, the NAT IP will gone, and some different IP, different public IP came for the internet. Okay, see the difference. NAT IP is gone, so leave about NAT gateway. So sorry, we have one VNet. So what is the VNet now? Uh, the VNet name is VNet training, and what is the address space of the VNet? It's 10.2.0.16. So that is our VNet. We have this setup: VNet, subnet, VM1 and VM2. Okay, so if you see the virtual machines, two VMs are there. So I'm going to configure firewall on top of VNet. Okay, so this is the firewall. Okay, so go to the VM, so go to the network, choose the network where actually we are going to place the firewall. Okay, so just go to the virtual network. In the options you can find it out firewall. Just click the firewall and click add configure firewall. Okay, so same resource group, give the firewall name firewall hyphen test, and location, tier, choose the tier. So I'm just choosing a standard one, and firewall policies. Okay, so here two types of two types are there in the policy. Earlier they have defined only firewall policy. Now this is actually old one, and now they have brought firewall rules. Both are same concept only. This is for older method and the new is firewall rules. Okay, so which means this is the firewall, and there are some set of rules or needs to define rules, so that which needs to which needs to allow needs to sorry which needs to allow tick mark, which need not to allow. Okay, this we need to define in the rules only. Okay, so that is what they have given: firewall management rules, firewall policy, or firewall rules. Both are same. Earlier method we used to call it as firewall policy. The latest one is firewall rules. So I'm just choosing firewall rules. Okay, and choose a network. Which network I'm going to place this firewall. So here it is asking us create new virtual network. I don't want because I have already VNet. So click on existing virtual network, and here choose our VNet. So VNet training is my virtual network, and we are getting a error. You see, this virtual network must have a subnet named as firewall subnet. So this firewall, uh, okay, this is actually the subnet A is a additional subnet which cannot be placed. The firewall cannot be directly placed into this subnet. Okay, so we need to create one dedicated subnet. Just assume that okay, wait, we need to create one dedicated subnet. Azure, the naming also we have to give similar only. We should not give different name. Azure Firewall subnet. Okay, why? Because this is the normal subnet, we cannot place this firewall into this subnet. Okay, so we have to use dedicated subnet for firewall. Okay, so this firewall will be placed in this subnet. So I'll just go to another window, go to my virtual network, and I need to create one subnet. Go to training, here go to subnet, and here you see the option called add subnet. So I'm going to create a new subnet and just give a naming as, what is the name here? It's reflect Azure Firewall subnet. So make sure the naming convention is same, Azure Firewall subnet. Okay, and the subnet range maximum sorry minimum 32 IP address is enough for the subnet firewall. So if I increase the range, then IP address will be allocating less. Okay, so I am just giving in 26 area range, 59 plus 5 IPs reserved, so roughly 60 64 IPs will be there in this range. So I guess this is even more fine. So I'll just click OK. Let this subnet will create. Okay, so the subnet is created, the subnet called Azure Firewall subnet. So go back to our creations. So just come down here. The still it is not reflecting. So just to do refresh once. So it's asking again. Okay, I'll just give it as from beginning. Fire test, test, same standard firewall policy. This network. You can see now it is not throwing the error. Earlier it was throwing the subnet is not available, but now it is not throwing because we have created the respective subnet. Okay, so now I need to create one public IP address. Why? So I'll go back to the picture. Here one private IP will be assigned because we are putting that firewall inside our subnet. So this firewall having one private IP, so that the internal resources, this is a subnet, right? So both subnet and subnet A also, firewall subnet and firewall subnet, and then subnet, these both can communicate. Okay, so one private IP will be assigned for this firewall so that the internal resources can connect with respective private IP, as well as one public IP will be created, that is public IP. Why it is created? The traffic should go to internet, right? So that is the reason one public IP. Sorry. So how the traffic will go to internet? It must be required one public IP, right? So that is the reason we are creating one public IP. So through the public IP, the traffic will go like this. So that is what here public IP. I'm just going to give one public IP, firewall hyphen public hyphen IP. Okay, so just try remember. So first tunneling option you can ignore it. So not required. Just click tags and review. What is the error? What is that error? Why it is throwing that error? Okay, so my quota is getting increased. It's showing us cannot create a multiple public IP address. So I'll just go to public IP address. I will delete some public IP which is not in use. Okay, VPN public. Okay, NAT IP. Still I did not delete it. Let me delete it. There is a limit for my subscription, so that is why it is throwing the error. So let it complete. So guys, any doubt till now in the firewall creations? So you have to keep practice this firewall so that you will get a hands-on experience. Okay. Okay, you see the validation is succeeded. I'm just clicking create. So probably it will take a few minutes of time to complete. So let it complete. Meantime, we'll discuss about other stuff. Okay. So now come to the picture. Let it create. Now come to the picture. So I hope you understood till now, right, about firewall. And to place the firewall we need one subnet. To place this firewall we need one dedicated subnet. Okay, this Azure Firewall subnet, the naming also same standard one dedicated subnet. On top of that we are placing the firewall. And so let's firewall is creating. Okay, so now till now we did not define any rules. Okay, so still the traffic are, I mean the VM1 and VM2, still it is going to the internet over the public IP. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to change this direction, which means we need to route this traffic. By default the traffics are going to internet. We just placing the firewall, but we did not define any rules until unless the traffic is going to internet like this only. So what we have to do, we have to route this traffic to firewall. I mean, we need to both this VM1 VM2, we have to route the traffic to this private IP, this firewall IP. Firewall IP means this firewall. So try to understand this VM1 and VM2. I'll just put it in separate. So I'll just keep it beside. So I need to route the traffic, public traffic, internet connectivity traffic to firewall. Okay, so how can I achieve this statement? I need to achieve this statement using route tables. Okay, so now we'll discuss our route tables. So route table also one of the service in Azure which is useful for routing the traffic, routing the traffic from source to other destination. When you create a route, the traffic must be going through the route only. It will not go out of the route table. It will go through the path only, route path only. It will not go to any other path. Okay, so when you create a route table and define the routes, the traffic will not go to the internet. Okay, so we need to route the traffic. Got it? Here we have to break it. This is directly going to the internet. I don't want this internet. I need to go through route tables, because route table is the only component where can route the traffic from virtual machines to firewall. That is the our requirement. So make this point is clear about route table. Okay, so firewall is deployed, let it be beside. I'm going to create one route table. Yes. So route table, just click route. So create the route table, created, and just go to our virtual network. Our virtual network as sorry our firewall has been configured. Okay, so go to firewall and you see there is one private IP which is assigned from subnet 10.2.2.4. Just click on the firewall. Okay, this is our private IP. This is what we discussed in the diagram. You see the private IP is created. Okay, so let's wait for route table create. Okay, so route table is created. We are going to create a route now. So route table is just a component we created. We need to route the traffic now. So for that we need to configure the route. So in the route table, go to overview options, and here in the options you see routes. Okay, so click on the routes and click add route. Okay, so just give the route here, route name here. So I'm just giving a name as VM2 firewall. Okay, so some meaningful name I'm giving, and destination type. So you see the diagram where we are routing the traffic from VM to private API of firewall. So the destination is firewall. Okay, so the destination I'm choosing IP address, and here uh, one moment, IP address, destination IP address. Okay, sorry, the destination is, so the VM where the VM is placed. Okay, sorry, not that one. Destination IP address. Okay, fine. So this VM1 and VM2 usually is going to internet, and the internet by default having a one CIDR range. This is our destination. Okay, so from VM1, sorry, VM2 internet means the internet destination is, this is that one, 0.0.0.0/0. This is the CIDR range of our actual destination. Okay, so that we need to declare it, we need to define it here, 0.0.0.0/0. Okay, and what is the next hop? Next hop means in this diagram, our next hop is our firewall only, because the traffic is going to firewall only. So from this VM, the next hop is firewall only. The next destination is firewall. Okay, so that we need to define in the next hop. Okay, the firewall component, the firewall IP is the component called as virtual appliance. Okay, so using this route table, you can achieve these many future: virtual network gateway, virtual network, internet, virtual appliance. There are some categories, some features are that we can use it this route table. So we are using for firewall, so I'm just giving as virtual appliance. So virtual appliance means nothing, it's a firewall appliance. So here I choose a firewall appliance and asking IP address of our next stop. So just go to firewall and copy our private IP address. That is what I shown in the diagram, from VM to route table, from route table to private IP of firewall. So copy this firewall and give in the next stop. Okay. So I have given the next stop IP address. Just click and add. So I defined firewall rules here. I mean fire routes I have defined routes. Okay, just I have defined, but I till now I just created this route table. Okay, but I did not associated this route table to this subnet. Just I created one route table, and routes I have created, but I did not associated this route table to subnet. So I need to associate this route table to this VM subnet, so that then only the traffic, the VM1 and VM2 traffic will be it will be going through this route table. Okay, so make sure, just try to understand. I till now I created only route tables and defined the route, but I did not associate it to subnet. I need to associate to this subnet, because the VM1 and 2 presenting in the respective subnet only. Okay, so just make the points are clear. Okay, and you should not get confusion on this point. So route table is created, firewall is created, route table defined, route table routes we defined, firewall rules still pending, we need to define now. So before that I am going to attach this route table to respective subnet. Okay, so now go back to my virtual machines. I just need to show one thing now. So go to virtual machines, VM1, go to networking, go to network interface, and come to the options effective route. Okay, so choose that options. So why I am showing here, I will tell you now once the options are visible. Okay, so you can see the second options, the source is default and the status is active. The address prefixes is our destination, which is internet. Okay, just make a point, just see properly. The VM network interface is connected to internet. The internet prefixes, I mean CID range is 0.0.0.0. This is our actual destination, and this is the internet destination. Okay, the status is showing as active, which means still we are able to access internet inside the virtual machine. You see, just go to VM and do refresh, you will get the result, and the internet is still working. Okay, that is why the option is showing as active, because till now we just only defined route tables, but still we did not associate this route table to our subnet. Okay, so now I make this, see, just see carefully that this is the default source and status is active. Now what I will do, I'll just go back to my virtual network, subnet. What is our subnet? Subnet is our subnet, and here only our VMs are placed. Okay, I am going to associate the route table to respective subnet. Okay, so see here, I'm just clicking on route table, selecting my route table and saving the changes. Now you can see the logic. After this saves successfully, the RDP will be disconnected automatically. Let's wait. We'll get RDP error. Still it is coming. You see my RDP is not responding. Guys, you can see the logic now. Can anyone tell why the RDP get disconnected after I add the route table to subnet? Please refer this diagram, and can anyone tell what is the reason the RDP is disconnected? Can anyone please? Is it clearly understand or I'm just confusing you all? So that is why I'm moving very slowly. Oh, can anyone answer why my RDP get disconnected? Yes, can someone? It's very simple logic. Okay, I will tell now. So the traffic earlier before I associate this route table, the actual traffic are going through from VM1 and VM2 to internet directly. Okay, so the over internet destination is 10.0.0.0. It's our destination. But I have defined the rule in the route table, the destination 0.0 dot sorry 0.0.0.0 slash 0. This is a destination of internet and it should go via firewall private IP. So makes sense this statement is true. Via firewall private IP, the internet, the 0.0 destination can be reachable. It should be reachable. I have defined. I have defined in the rule and the rule I have associated to subnet. So after I associated route table, the traffic, whatever the traffic going through the internet, these all disconnected and the traffics are moving towards our route table. Okay, I'll see in the route. Okay, go to the portal, go to the virtual machine again, go to the virtual machine NIC interface. Go to the NIC interface card. So can someone put mute, please? Okay, so I just referring my network interface routes again. So you can see the logic now and see the difference before and after. Guys can see the logic now. See the second one now. The 0.0.0 internet is invalid. So before I have shown it is the status was showing as active and now after I associate a route table the status changed to invalid, which means this path will not work out and there is a rule that we defined, that is the user, so the source is user, means we only define the rules. Okay, and the rule what we define, that is in active state. You see status is active and the address prefix is 0.0.0 and the next stop is our firewall IP and the rule what we define, VM2 firewall, that is the routing rule in the route table. Just see this properly. Okay, that is why the RTP is disconnected. I have routed all the traffic to my firewall. Okay, so earlier the RDP working through internet, but now I routed all the traffic to route table to firewall IP. Okay, so I will show in another diagram so that it will be easy to understand. So assume that this is the firewall and the firewall. So the route table request came here. That's it. Till here, the request came. Uh, I'll just give the naming as route table rules to firewall IP. Okay, so it reached to firewall, but from this firewall for outside internet, from this firewall to outside internet, we did not define any rule. Internet. Here, this rule we did not define right till now. So we are going to define this rule now. Okay, just see the logic and just understand. Try to understand clearly how now we are going to define this rule. Okay, and this is firewall public IP. One public IP that is associated with firewall, so that the traffic will go using the firewall public IP to internet. Okay, so this is, I'll just make it as a firewall PIP, public IP. Through the firewall, the traffic will go as well as will come back from the internet. Okay, two ways communication. Now my RDP got disconnected and I'm not able to take my RDP. Okay, so how can I check my internet access in VM without taking RDP? So first thing, I'm first rule. There are three rules in firewall. Firewall rules. We are going to define the firewall rule now. Okay, three rules are there. So one is for RDP purpose, and second for internet purpose, third for particular site. For example, Google or Insta or Facebook. So particular site privileges that we can assign using the third option, internet networking purpose. First one, RDP purpose, that is NAT rule. Okay, I will tell later. Okay, these are the three rules are main key rule in firewall. So I'm just going to the firewall and you can see there is an option called rules classic. Just go there and you can see three categories, three kind of rules are there. This is what I discussed. Okay, first one is a NAT rule. So what is the use of NAT rule? Again, I'll explain the picture. So uh, the NAT rule also called as DNAT. DNAT means destination network address translation. Okay, so that the traffic can be transfer to the destination. Okay, so that that can be done using DNAT rule configuration. So our RDP also, see, in the picture, from the internet to our virtual machines. Just assume that our virtual machines are here. Okay, so what is our destination is, these VMs are our destinations. Okay, so internet is source. this internet is source. So from the source to destination, okay, that is called DNAT, Destination Network Address Translation. So we are going to create one rule, that rule called as DNAT rule. That DNAT rule will go to firewall, and from firewall to route table to VM. Okay, so we are going to create one RDP rule for taking my machine RDP. Okay, so make this point clearly. To take my VM RDP, because now everything, the route table is blocked. I mean, through the route table, firewall is blocked. My RDP also blocked. How can I achieve my RDP? I need to create one rule at any cost. So that rule is called Destination Network Address Translation Rule. Okay, try to understand clearly. Oh, here, uh, this is the, okay. What, how I'll define it now? Uh, from internet to firewall. This is firewall public IP, because the incoming request come from the internet to the firewall public IP. Okay, so from the public IP, I need to translate to my backend. I mean, backend means destination. So this is our destination. What actually the action will happen here is translation, which means transferring the row, okay, from public IP to destination. This is what I'm going to configure first rule. So go to our firewall and click and add NAT rule collection. Don't think that it is confusing, it is very simple, only you have to follow step by step. Okay, just I will give as RDP rule. So make sure don't give the space and give some meaningful name. And here, priority. Yesterday we discussed the network security group priority numbers. The same way we have to define the priorities here. So I'll just create 200 priority, and you can see the destination network address translation. Name I'm giving as RDP, and the protocol is TCP, and IP address source. Translation address. Okay, source means internet. So source can be anything. So I'll just give it as star. And destination. So come to the picture. This is the source over the internet. This is the internet, and this is the source. Okay, from source to what is the destination? The destination is, first destination is firewall. Okay, so we have to define the firewall IP, firewall public IP. Okay, got it. So I'll just go back to firewall IP, firewall. What is the firewall public IP? Go to public IP configuration. See, this is the firewall public IP. Okay, so destination address. The first destination is public firewall IP. I'm defining here, and the port. What is the port is required? So the port for RDP is 3389. So I need 3389 port only to be accessed for the RDP, and translated address. So I said in the picture the destination is VM. I mean, this is the last destination, and the translation will happen here. So I can define virtual machine private IP here. You can What is that? Yeah, you can define virtual machine private IP. So what is my virtual machine private IP? If you need VM1, you can give the VM1 private IP, or if you want a VM2 based on your requirement, you can define the uh, virtual machine private IP. So what I'll do now, I'll define VM2 IP. Okay. So VM2 IP, I'm going to give it's a 10.2.0.5 and port also translated port also 3389. Okay.
So Ram,
Fine.
I have a
Mm.
doubt.
Yeah, yeah, please.
So for the destination address, it should be the VM address, right? VM public
Yeah.
address, right?
No, the
Okay,
first,
but
yeah, good
if
question only.
yeah,
This is the source from our internet. The first destination from the internet, how the traffic is going to reach. The first, it will reach to firewall public IP. So this is the destination first, direct destination. Okay, this is the translated destination, this is our actual destination, but the first direct destination is our public IP. From source to public IP, from the public IP in firewall to translate the public IP into our destination private IP. The traffic will come to public IP, from the public IP to it will translate to our virtual machine private IPs, I mean our actual destinations. Is it clear?
but if you have multiple VMs, so we should configure all the VMs one by one, or is there any automatic process for this?
For multiple VMs, right? See,
Yeah.
this is just for you. I mean, for training purpose, I am taking this RDP. Okay, but they are using this translate this NAT rule for some different purpose also. Not only exactly this 3389, they are using for different purpose. In the load balancer, I will show that backend pool where you can bind the list of virtual machines, and you can assign any of the virtual machines. So if you want one virtual machine, we can define one virtual machine. So you can add another role also, same RDP, same destination, same port, and same rule you can, I mean same destination, actual destination you can give it VM1. So how much you can define it here. Okay, but just for training purpose, I am explaining about this RDP port. But actual the work of this NAT rule is different, and that it depends on the project you may get it. Okay, but try to understand about NAT rule, how it is functioning and where it will be applied. If you want a second VM, that also you can define here. Translated IP address, destination, translated address. Just a moment, it is not taking IP of our destination. Destination port, translated address, destination translated address. Just a moment, I'll see. It's not taking forward. Just a moment, guys. Here it is not taking firewall address. Just a moment. I will share this link also, useful link how to deploy the virtual machine. Sorry, deploy the firewall. Step by step procedure is there. DNAT rule. Source is any destination address is the firewall public IP address. Translated address is type the private type address is correct. Why it is not taking maybe? Okay, so it's correct. Fine. I have given some extra space, so it did not consider it. Yeah, so it is taking now. So the point is clear, right? I think Kumar only raised the question, right? For multiple VMs, how to give RDP. Who has raised the question?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was Kumar.
Okay, so you clear the point, right?
how it's applicable for the field work which is project based. I still confused.
Okay,
Can
so
you relate to
uh,
your work? So how you are doing in your office? Then that would be grateful. Then we can
okay,
come
that
to
is
know
fine.
some
But
idea.
to be honest, so here in my project, the firewall they are using for different concept. They are not applied this NAT rule. Okay, so the main concept of this NAT rule is translating from source to destination. That too for RDP purpose, or you can use UDP protocol also, and some other IP addresses. Sorry, some other TCP protocols that you can use it. In my project, other than this NAT rule, we are using application rule and one more network rule. These two are there that we are using in our project. But this NAT rule, just for you to understand, I am explaining. But uh, yeah, but try to understand the purpose of this NAT rule. Even if you want other machine RDP also, you can just give it as RDP2, and you can give the same IP address, same star, same IP address here also. Here in the translated address, actual destination, you can give it VM1.
So
Same
there is a
with
source type. We are able to give the IP address, IP's group, right? There is some options for the IP group, right? So
here.
group means yeah.
Yeah, the
So
group means so
okay.
in the source level, um, the source we see just for understand star means it will allow all the IPs in the source. It will allow all the IPs. Okay, star means that it represent the all IPs, but depends on the project. You, I mean, they will give this is the source IP that needs to allow over the internet. So based on the requirement, we can assign the particular IP in the grayed out option. Also, you see in the grayed out also the reference they give star comma and some desired IP address also. That's what based on the requirement. Just for you understand, I'm just giving. I'm allowing all the source, but the source should match with our destination port 3389. Then only it will allow the translation. Source is any, the destination IP address is our firewall IP, and the firewall IP will be bind with 3389 protocol and sorry 3389 port, and these two will be translated to our actual virtual machine with the private IP and then translated port. Is it clear or still?
No, are we able to provide the rules for the group of IP addresses, or what? What is the purpose
You
of the IP group?
see the source you can define anything. Okay, it's not only one IP or two IP. Just
No,
you can
that's
put
fine.
put
That's fine.
command, you
But
can add it. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
question is so the group of IP addresses. So how we are able to provide the group of IP addresses? That is my question. So as per your destination address, you are provided some only one IP addresses, right? So if you want
Yeah,
to select some many IP addresses, so how we are able to define here? That is my question.
yeah, I understood that. But you are saying that group IP addresses, right? Here, the
Yeah.
actual destination, the firewall having only one public IP. There is no group of public IPs in firewall. So the destination would be always only one IP. And here in the translated IP address, it's as I said, it depends on the project. There will be one, or there will be two, or there will be 10 requirement. So you can add the requirement here one by one. You see the first one is filled, and the second option came, and again third option came. So if I fill the third also, the next again adding option also will be automatically come. So based on your requirement, you can define the translate, I mean the actual destinations. So make sure that there won't be, definitely they will be not giving access for all the environment, I mean all the backend resources. There will be for some crucial requirement they will allow the port for some business critical. So everyone cannot take RDP of our backend machines, right? Only who are part of the project people, they only able to access RDP using firewall IP, not everybody. So is it clear or still not clear, or we'll discuss
Okay,
it
Ram.
later?
Okay, Ram. Fine. Okay, you can prompt.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just save it now. So post this saving, uh, we can able to take RDP using our firewall IP. Okay. So let's see that also. So one moment. Go to my
Uh, I think
RDP.
I think Abhishek is raising the hands multiple times. Can you check with him? So is he in doubt?
Abhishek. I'm getting some sound.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
Abhishek.
Abhishek.
Yeah, Ram.
Yeah, tell me. You have any doubt?
No, no, it got cleared.
Okay, okay, fine. So the group is, sorry, the rule is getting added. So meantime, I'll just quickly check my firewall IP. What is the firewall IP here? 10 dot. It is still updating in the firewall, so let's wait for a moment. So guys, anybody doubt, anybody having a doubt till now? All clear? So the firewall one is very important one. Try to understand about the structure and architecture of firewall. So we are already running out of time also. Let it complete. Okay. So rule is successfully saved. I'm going to take RDP. Okay, so see now with the firewall IP, this is 20.127.125.223. With the firewall IP, I can able to take RDP. So I'm just going to take RDP now. Certificate. Okay, you see the logic now. With the firewall IP, we are able to take RTP. So even though we are outside organization, we are not a Azure. I mean, we are not a part of Azure network, but still we are able to take RDP of our machine using NAT rule in firewall. Okay, so you see the traffic now went to VM2. It depends on availability. The backend logic, firewall logic, the traffic will be routed. So sometimes it will goes to VM1 and sometimes it will goes to VM2. So now it went to VM2, and now see the IP address here. Just to do refresh. Now anyone can tell why I am not able to access the internet. See, I am not able to open Google also. I just search Google. See, Google is not at all working. So can anyone tell now why I am not able to access Google? Because there are three rules. As I said, the traffic, now we have only created DNet rule. That's why we are able to take RDP. So only one incoming request now came based on our firewall rules. So firewall rule, DNet rule, one DNet, sorry, one DNet rule we created. So the request come to firewall, firewall to VM. This is successful, but inside the VM to firewall and firewall to internet, we did not define the second and third rule. So we have to define so that the outbound connectivity will happen successfully. So the request, outbound request directly went to firewall with the help of route table. So whatever the outbound request table, whatever the outbound request, it went till firewall, and from firewall it did not go out to internet because we did not define the rule. So now we are going to define second. We can do the internet blocking, allow or deny in second also or third also. We'll see in the third now. Okay. Sorry. So go to application rule. Here add the application rule. Open to internet. Just the priority I need to give. So I'll just give priority as 110, and the action is allow or deny. Okay. So I'm just giving us allow here. Now the name we need to give us internet, and the source is IP address, and the source is anything. Anything means from the VM, from the VM to firewall and from the firewall to internet. So the source is anything. And FQDN tags, you can ignore it. We need to define the source and protocol details here. Okay. So come to name again here, target FQDN tags. So target FQDN means actual our internet. This part. Okay, source is our firewall things. So I'm just giving all the source, and the target FQDN I'm just giving as something open internet, something name I'm giving, address is IP address. Source again you have to define what is the source is star, and what are the protocols that you will allow with the port, http or https or whatever. So I will just allow, I'm going to allow now google www.google.com, so that Google will comes http or https. Okay, so just give www.google.com. Sorry, here it is. Yes, sorry. I required additional informations. Just a moment, guys. Okay, so I'm directly giving my target FQDN here. So this is actually different things for specific resources that we can give internet access. So you can ignore this FQDN tag. These are customized tag given by Microsoft. So I'm in my list. It is not there. I'm just going to give a internet access, Google access. Okay. So target FQDN. Give the name. Name is something open internet, and source type is IP address. Source is anything, and the protocol I'm going to allow HTTP and HTTPS protocol, and target FQDN. I'm going to give access for www.google.com. This is my, sorry, this is my target FQDN. Okay, so I'll just click a save changes. So let it wait, and post that we can check whether Google able to access or not. Meantime, I will open other machine RDP also, 10.0.4. So I will take a VM on RDP also. Let this happen. So any doubt till now? We will wind up this call in few minutes after this rule complete. So what and all topics that we covered today? So Azure NAT gateway we covered, and firewall we completed, route tables we completed, and in the Azure network we have discussed about the first point, communication of Azure resources with internet. Okay, so next week we complete the left of topics. I know it is extending again, but we need to complete all the topics because all are very important. So next week we'll discuss about load balancer, application gateway, and some VPN components are there that we'll discuss. Okay. So we'll try to complete all the topics by next week. If again we are not able to complete, means maybe one or two classes would be required again. Okay, so as till today we completed 4 weeks of training, and by adding next week we'll be covering 5 weeks of training. Probably we may require again. So maximum we'll try to complete within 6 weeks of training, 6 weeks of time. Okay. Okay, see here the application rule for the Google. It is added successfully. So go back to the VM and just type www.google.com. See, the Google has come now. Earlier, before we configure this application rule, we couldn't able to access Google at all. But now I just allowed Google. I am able to access Google from both of the machine. I'll just open another machine also. You see, in the both of the machine, I'm able to successfully access my Google, which I allowed over the firewall. Okay, so like this in project also, they will be allowing respective particular site, project based site, something they will allow in this application rule only. Okay, so now we discussed NAT rule and then application rule. Let me explain about network rule. So this is the last one. Okay, after this we'll close it. Network rule, something related to network like DNS, DHCP, RDP, all network. These can be done using network rule. Okay, so now what I will do now, here in the VM, if you check, apart from Google, if you check Microsoft.com, it will not work out because we did not allow Microsoft.com. Just for reference, I'm just doing now. See, Microsoft will not work. Apart from Google, it will not work out other stuffs because we did not allow. So in this network rule, I can allow all the internet access, not only particular sites, but in the application rule for only specific sites that can be allowed. But in network, you can allow for everything. So just what I'll do, just go and I will deny this rule. Deny means the internet access for google.com will not work. Okay, I am denying the application rule. I will give full privileges in network rule. So just go to add network rule. Here give full network access. Rule you can define 100. Status you can give it as allow, and full access. Name you have to, can give something. Full access. Protocol TCP or any protocol you can define. So full access means you can define any, and source is star, destination also star, and destination port also star because full access. Okay, just save this one. Okay, fail to update. Another operation is on depend on this resource. Okay, let's wait because two are merged and it's giving the error. So guys, till now any doubt? Till now any doubts, questions, or are you clear about firewall?
Yes.
So just repeat the firewall once again from your side. Do hands-on experience. Okay. And next week I will give some scenario-based lab session also for you to practice for the same firewall. You guys have to practice on next week. There is one more VPN need to explain. So after that only I can give the lab session for practice. But you practice yourself for this firewall. Okay. Why it is not coming? Successfully updated firewall. Okay, so I will create it again this network rule because the existing one was already in progress, so it did not. Full access priority 100 allowed. Full access port source is protocol anything. Source is IP address and source range is star. destination IP address and destination address also star, destination port also star. So before I save this one, check again google.com in server. It will not reachable, you see, because we have blocked it. So I am allowing all the ports in network rule. So just click and add. ಸುಗಣೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇತ್ತು ಯಾರಿಗೆ ತಾನೇ దీని సంబంధం లేదు ఇప్పుడు ఆ మామూలుగా చెప్పా మీద దుమ్ముతారు కదా ఊరు యాటిదా మాతి మాతి మాట్లాడతారు. The rule is getting added in the list, so let's wait for complete this rule. So go here and check. Okay, so I'm able to access now Google, Microsoft. So Microsoft also opening, YouTube also opening. Let's see YouTube. So YouTube also coming now. So you can see the logic now. Okay, you can see the difference in these three rules. Okay, so this is all about Azure Firewall, which is comes under filtering of network traffic. Network security group we discussed. Network virtual appliance firewall also we discussed today. Okay, so any doubt, I'll just